So at first it was very hard for me to stop becoming a perfectionist because I had so much of this imaginary ideal that I wanted to accomplish in my life. But as soon as I gave most of those up, other things started to happen where I would start manifesting things more naturally to me because this desperate need to get a goal was just gone. In order to achieve some great results in our life, we have to put in the maximum effort, giving the best that we got, that's for sure, there's no doubt in that. However, when we start to strive for perfection, that's when things start getting very crazy in our life. And I'm a former perfectionist myself. I'm gonna suggest an alternative that is very simple and easy to apply instead of perfection, which is gonna be the key. Welcome back to this video. My name is Rav and I help people empower themselves. And in today's video, I wanted to share with you why we should stop trying to be perfect. If you're new to this channel, I provide very great insights on how we can better ourselves in every step of our lives, and I provide tools for transformation such as meditations, affirmations, and these insightful kind of videos. So if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please go ahead and do so right now, and don't forget to hit that bell icon so you receive a notification from me every time I release a video. So let's get right on to it. The thing about perfection is it's a bit sneaky. It's always lurking on in the back of our minds and trying to criticize us for not doing something the right way. And I know this very well because I did have a mental breakdown back in 2017 because I was just trying to strive for perfection all the time. To give you a little context, I was working on a music album back then and I wanted everything to sound perfect, pitch perfect, everything. We were just quantizing the drums, just like making it so unhuman, to be honest, and doing all these things. At the end, I still wasn't satisfied with the results and I ended up hating the album anyway. Perfection was this kind of standard that I had set for myself and my band, but no matter what we did, no matter how much we tried, I was always dissatisfied. The thing about perfection is it might seem like your best friend. Like when we hear stories about Steve Jobs, how meticulous he was paying attention to details and how beautiful the Apple products were. But what we forget is Apple made a lot of mistakes in its heydays. You know, it came up with a lot of design flaws and it kept learning from those mistakes, and it got to this point where we started perceiving their products as flawless. If you look up the meaning of the word perfect in dictionaries, it just means like it's something without any flaws or defects. But our life doesn't operate that way. That's why it is the cause of a lot of frustration in our life, you know. It's a cause of a lot of anxiety and dissatisfaction. And the thing about perfection is it's like a rabbit hole. We keep falling down and we keep falling down and we feel like we're getting somewhere. But the thing about it is that there is no end point to it. You know, it will never stop. And I didn't know that I had this in myself, this perfectionist in myself. And when I had that mental breakdown, I talked to a counselor, and he, like within a few minutes, he was able to point out my problem, and he just told me that why you're feeling so depressed and miserable right now is because you're trying to be perfect. You're trying to be a perfectionist. But there's no perfection in life. Until and unless you change your attitude, you will never be satisfied. Now, let's say that you're trying to work on this paper that is due in a month or so. And in your mind, you're thinking that until and unless I have all these information, I can't even get started on it. You try to think that you have to do more research and you keep falling down this rabbit hole, and when you start writing the paper, you just don't feel adequate and you never even complete the paper. And it starts to become a huge problem in your life, and you end up feeling more frustrated and regretful. And that's why when you're trying to be perfectionist, sometimes you won't even start, sometimes you won't even finish. There's always this sense of dissatisfaction that's eating you from deep inside because you feel like you did not do good enough. It makes you feel that you're never good enough. It always makes you feel like you're lacking something in your life, and you stop pursuing the things that make you happier in your own life. Now let's talk about this great solution instead of that. So what we could do instead. So the answer to this is we can strive for excellency, you see. These two terms might sound very closely related, but the thing about perfection is you're trying to strive for something that's flawless without any faults, right? But when it comes to excellency, you're just trying to give the best you got. You always feel like you can always do a little bit more than how you were doing before, but you're not coming from this neurotic place anymore, you see. You're always trying to set this new standard in your life, which is gonna motivate you to do something even better than before. So when we start to approach things from this kind of mindset, where we know that there's always some little room for growth no matter what we do, things start to change instantly. And instead of needlessly criticizing ourselves and beating ourselves up, what we start to do is we start to accept ourselves more. And you can't expect to be totally great the first day when you start something in your life, right? Whether it be in relationship, whether it be in your family, or some kind of like job related problems that you have. Because life is always a learning experience, you know. If we have this like false sense of standards that we set for ourselves, and if we go after it, we have all these unmet expectations, which is gonna create so much psychological problems in our lives. And this is when all this craziness starts to manifest in our life. So whenever you think that you're working on a new project, just question yourself. Do you think you're trying to strive for perfection, or are you trying to be excellent in what you do, where you're just trying to give the best that you got and you always see this room for growth? And also when you start approaching things from this mindset, what starts to happen is that failure isn't gonna be something that's a huge deal, you know. You won't be as afraid of fear because you feel like there's always gonna be room for growth. So even if you fail, there's always gonna be next time when you can perform a lot better. So at first it was very hard for me to stop becoming a perfectionist because I had so much of this imaginary ideal that I wanted to accomplish in my life. But as soon as I gave most of those up, other things started to happen where I would start manifesting things more naturally to me, because this desperate need to get a goal was just gone. Now, I hope this was of some help to you guys. And before leaving, I just wanted to ask you one more time, if you're working on a project, just try to ask yourself whether you're trying to be perfectionist, or are you trying to strive for just excellency, trying to give the best that you got and maybe more than that you had before, right? So ask yourself this question. So with that being said, guys, let's end this video right here. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please go ahead and do so right now if you haven't already. And don't forget to hit that bell icon too. Please leave your comments down in the comment section below, because I read through each one of them, and I would love to hear your thoughts about this, you know. So stop trying to be a perfectionist. That being said, goodbye and namaste.